What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan, and I am here today to talk to you about the 1-0 win over the Minnesota Frost. Now, a lot of thoughts about this game, but first, something I gotta mention just because I forgot. I forgot to mention it, and it happened a little while ago, I know, but I feel like if I don't mention it now, I might not get another opportunity. I want to briefly touch on the ending of the New York Sirens Toronto Scepters game that happened a little while back. Specifically, the game-winning goal. Very controversial. It was a very controversial end. For those of you who aren't aware, the game went to overtime, and it was won off of what was a very nice goal, but also a goal that was very clearly offside. It's very blatantly offside. It should not have counted. But in the PWHL, that's not something that is reviewable. You cannot review for offside. So, unlike in the NHL, where if a player is a half a micrometer offside, you can challenge it and you can sit there for the next however long it's going to take for them to analyze every minute angle to decide if the play was onside or offside. In the PWHL, if a team gets into the zone and they were offside and it goes uncalled, the goal will stand. The goal, simply put, it will stand. And here's the thing. I have mixed feelings, and I think most fans of both leagues have mixed feelings. Because in the NHL, we can remember those other instances, similar to how that game ended. The Matt Duchene goal. The one that I think really sticks out in my mind, 2012. Round 1, Game 1, Penguins up 3-0 over the Flyers. I believe it was Danny Briere who scores a goal. He was offside to make it 3-1. That goal starts a rally. Philadelphia wins in overtime, 4-3. If offside was challengeable, that goal probably doesn't count. Philadelphia probably doesn't force overtime. They won the series in 6. It was a close series. That game mattered. That game really... Philly went up 3-0 in that series before Pittsburgh kind of made it interesting, won 2 games and then lost in 6. Now imagine if instead the Penguins are up 1-0. Even if they do drop the next 2 games, they go into Game 6 with a chance to end the series, not the other way around. It started a lot of conversation about, how is that allowed? And it's only a matter of time before this happens in the Walter Cup playoffs. If we don't change anything, then eventually, inevitably, what's going to happen is this. We're going to have a game where it's Game 4, Game 5. It is a 1-goal game, and the team that wins the game and the series scores a goal offside, blatantly offside, and we're going to be left saying, how is that fair? How can that count? So I would like to offer you my solution, because here's the problem. The NHL said, okay, we're going to make offsides reviewable, and now it's the exact opposite problem, where games are getting derailed, momentum is just vanishing because we're spending 4, 5, 6 minutes reviewing something that doesn't ultimately affect the play. Now, there's 2 types of offsides. Ones that affect the play, blatantly, obviously. You had a clear step over everyone else that you should not have had. You weren't allowed to be in the zone. And if you were onside, you wouldn't have had the break that you did. Like what happened with New York-Toronto. And others where it didn't affect the play. And we know it didn't affect the play. And we're talking about micrometers, but the team that got scored on was going to get scored on anyway. It's not like, if he came in offside, if she came in onside or he came in onside, it would have been different. We wouldn't have gotten scored. Yes, he would have. So here's my idea to strike a balance, and I think this should be in both leagues. Offsides should be reviewable, with the caveat that the second the refs put on those earphones and are connected with, whoever's going to make the final decision, a 2.5-minute timer starts. At the end of that 2.5-minute timer, it's done. The review is over. And if they have not figured out if it's onside or offside, then it is simply deemed inconclusive, because that is an option. Inconclusive is a possible option for reviewing plays that, we don't know. And in those situations, the call on the ice stands. If it was inconclusive, then just simply put, okay, we're just going to roll with what we called. I like that. I think it adds an element of human error that is fair. That, is uncontrollable, but what can you do? But here's the thing. In those situations where after talking for 2.5 minutes, because let's be real here, with offsides reviews, it's 90% of the time that it's obvious. You don't need 2 minutes. You need to just get to the point, and then you can hit the pause button and see, well, the player is very clearly past the blue line, and the puck is very clearly not. Okay, that's offside. There you go. Just today the Sens were playing a game, and they had one like that where it was so obvious. Like, the announcers were like, okay, they're reviewing if it's offside. Oh yeah, that's offside. Like, that's how quick it takes for you to actually know. Oh, okay, yeah, that was offside. So if it takes more than that, it's going to be one of those really long, really drawn out. Oh, it was so close. We're talking about this much space. So in those situations, just let the call on the ice stand, because it obviously didn't really affect the play, but the team challenging doesn't get a penalty. It was inconclusive. They might have been right. It might have been offside. So we aren't going to punish them for delay of game because, well, no, that's not fair. They were fully justified in the delay. So that's what I think we should do. Now let's get into the game. Goalie appreciation night. The goalies sure were appreciated tonight. First off, everybody, big round of applause. Gwenyth Philips gets her first ever win and her first ever shutout in the same game. What more can you ask from your rookie goaltender? Absolutely excellent. Best goalie tandem in the league. She played great. Now, I do want to say the whole team played pretty well. I think we had a good defensive game. We did not give Minnesota as many chances and as they've had in the past. And we played a good game, but that I don't want to take anything away from Phillips' performance tonight, which was amazing. And, nothing short of perfect. Didn't let a single goal in. Our first shutout of the season. Can you believe that? With a team that is this good of goaltending, I thought we would have had one by now, but this is actually our first shutout. And boy, did we make it close, because we only put one in the back of their net, and we put it in early. Very early in the game, our captain, with her first goal of the season. Again, a lot of things that I thought by now we had, and I was like, oh, that was the first of the season. Brianne Jenner scores. Nice snipe. 1-0. And about 3 minutes into the game, you can go home, because that's going to be the only goal that we are going to see. It was a tight defensive battle, and I am happy we made them play our game. We know Minnesota. The last time we played them, we played their games. We played their game, and they dropped 5 on us. They're an offense-first team. I think that Minnesota is at their best and at their strongest in a high-scoring game. If you tell me that Minnesota is going to play a game where the final score is going to be like 4-3, I'm going to assume that they won that game. And if you tell me that they play a game where the final score is 1-0, like they did today, I'm going to assume that they lost. That the opponent said, you're playing our game. And they played our game. Good. So we had in the first period we had all the momentum. We had all the momentum in the first period. We're playing good, clean hockey, right? Good, clean hockey. We aren't taking any bad penalties. I put don't take a bad penalty and give the Frost life. We have a good defensive block, some smart passing. We spring Dark Angelo, who gets robbed. Again, for goalie appreciation, both goaltenders did well. Phillips got the shutout, but only allowing one goal 99% of the time. Okay, maybe not 99, but like 90% of the time, you're going to win if you only let one pass you. In this league, there haven't been too many shutouts. But tonight there was one. Dark Angelo had a really good first period. I felt really good game. I'm a Dark Angelo truther now. I miss Adja. And Adja also, New York and Boston had a trade. So, one of her close teammates has now been traded. So who knows? Maybe Adja will be be heading to New York by saying, please just link me up. Maybe we could find a way to get her back someday. I still hold out hope. But I remember when that trade happened, I wasn't too fond of it. I gotta say, I am sorry. I was wrong. Dark Angelo's been great. I've been very impressed with her performance so far this season. We get a penalty. A puck battle leads to a bad penalty against Minnesota. Okay. We our power play's all right. It wasn't amazing, and again, we don't have that potent of a power play, but we generated some chances. All right, and then right on cue, late penalty, and I'm thinking, oh, here comes the parade, here comes the circus. We get the kill. We're looking like the far better team at the end of the first period. And what have I been saying? Stay out of the box. Second period, another bad penalty. I love Emily Clark. I love the game that she plays. It was not a penalty we needed to take. I thought the first penalty was arguable, especially they let a lot go in the third and the second, and they could have called us more than twice this game. They could have, and they didn't, and I'm thankful for that. But I feel weird because I'm not going to be like, yeah, no, our discipline was so much better this game. I felt like they let us play. Now, to be fair, there were other times where we were getting penalties called on us, and I was like, just let them play. Come on. But we take another penalty. We get a kill, but I'm thinking, part of it isn't just discipline; it's awareness. Be aware of where your stick is. Be aware if it could trip your opponent. You're not trying to, but you always need to know where your stick is. You always need to have control of your stick. If you lose control, even for a second, and you accidentally clip somebody up here, hook somebody, slash somebody, trip somebody, you aren't trying. You're just trying to make a play on the puck. They'll call it. You know that they'll call it. You're Ottawa. They will call it. Awareness and discipline is key. But after the penalty kill, we get the puck into their end and get immense pressure, which is good because the game tightens up, and for the rest of the second, I felt that Minnesota was the better team. We were the better team through 20, but through 40 minutes, it was even. We definitely won the first period. Minnesota won the second period, but we go into the third up 1-0. And quite frankly, we won the third period. Now, how did we win the third period? It wasn't by peppering them with shots, but quite the opposite. The third period, we kept as low event as we could. There weren't as many shots. It wasn't, this high-octane offensive madhouse. And that's what we needed. What have I been saying? If we are a team that is built on our defense and our goaltending, then use that. And we did. We took 2 penalties today. Not 0, but significantly lower than our typical 3.6. If we can have more games like this, that's good. We play a good, clean third period. We muck up the game. We are making things tight. We are making them play our game. That is vital to winning. Both teams are having a harder time generating chances. We're up 1-0. That's the game we need to play. And again, there were a few. There was one play in specific where I thought like there was an obvious tripping call that should have been called on us, and it wasn't called, and I was like, okay, whew, we got away with one. I really felt like we'd gotten away with one. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was watching the third on pins and needles. Like it was stressful for sure. But they played a good period. They played Ottawa Charge hockey. They played Ottawa Charge hockey. The Ottawa Charge hockey that we want to see. The Ottawa Charge hockey that is good hockey. And then late in the game, roughing penalty against Minnesota. With 3 minutes and a little bit left, 3 and change left, Minnesota takes a back-breaking, practically game-ending penalty. Our power play, our second time, didn't look great. Got one shot, didn't do much, didn't need to do much, because at the end of the day, the power play did its job. They went into the power play, up by 1, with 3.5 minutes to go. They came out of the power play, and Minnesota had barely over a minute to get in our end, pull the goalie, and score the goal. And that's not enough time. It wasn't enough time. We shut them down. We close it out. Phillips gets her first win. She gets her first shutout. The Ottawa Charge win. They snap a 3-game losing streak. They do it by being even in penalty. We were even in penalties today. 7 straight games of us taking more penalties than our opponents. Today put an end to that. We took 2, they took 2, 4 minutes apiece in the box. I can live with 2 penalties a night. I can live with that. And again, like, they got as many power plays as they took penalties. So you know, if we did lose this game, I wouldn't be able to sit here and say, oh well, maybe if they had less time in the buck. No, we had as much power play time as our opponents, and at the end of the day, we got the 1 goal that they didn't. And when we aren't draining our energy, killing off penalties, we were able to lock in, play a good game, play the game that we want. We played our way. Goaltending was great. Gwenyth Philips was great. But the team made sure that she didn't need to be great as often as she otherwise would have been if we were in the box for 8 minutes. I like it. This win puts us in a 3rd place now. I get it, you know, we have played more games than teams below us, but we still have that. Boston and Toronto play each other. That's the bad news. You know, one of them's going to get 2 to 3 points, but the good news is one of them is going to get 1 or 0 points. One of them is going to stay below us. There's still lots of season left. We aren't even at the halfway mark yet. You know, it's the saying, like, we control our destiny. Everyone controls their destiny. If Toronto goes and rattles off another 11 in a row, then guess what? They'll end up finishing in 1st. But I like where we are right now. I like our response after what was a rough patch. Our away record is really good right now. We're actually a very good away team. I've been liking how we play when we're the away team. I hope we can bring that energy back home, though. Big game on Monday. Let's try to keep it rolling. This is the type of game I wanted to see. You know, I was, in case you couldn't tell, pretty upset last video. Lack of discipline, lots of penalties. I said I don't want to see that again. I did not see that today. I saw the Ottawa Charge play the type of game I want to see the Ottawa Charge play. And as always, go Ottawa, go!